So people have actually asked me this question when they've been looking. They've said, you know, I get online, I read Yelp. What do you think about that? My answer to that is, have you looked at them for other resale stores? Because they're pretty uniform across the board with our competition as well. So that's something to consider. And I always say angry fingers type the fastest. When you look at reviews in general, a lot of times the person who's the most upset is the one you hear from.
To quote Taylor Swift, haters are gonna hate. They're always gonna find something out there that's a negative. Anyone who is doing their research on opening a new business, going with a brand, growing with a franchisor, there's gonna be something negative out there. You have to determine what are those that are gonna truly affect you. Are you someone that is truly gonna focus on making sure that the standards are met, that the customer service level is going to be at the stores, that you're not gonna get marred down by daily trivial things, but you're really gonna look at the big picture and overall grow the store that you are looking to have into something that's wonderful and great. Because everybody can say something negative. You really have to go out there and truly research the market that you're looking at. And researching the market and the feel for how customers overall are about resale in your market is what's really going to make the difference of, is it something that for this particular market that I should be worried about, or is this just something that has steamrolled into something bigger than it should be? And I really wouldn't concern myself with it. You really have to look at what the business is going to be with you behind the helm.
If you see a negative review about Close Mentor online, if it's Yelp or Google, it is most likely connected to a bad experience when somebody tried to sell items to us and we didn't buy them. And that is a very emotional situation. Somebody comes in following our advertising messages out there, trying to sell us items that were good for them to make money, and they may have certain expectations of what they want to get or need to get. We try to be very fair and very consistent, again helped by our computer system that does the pricing for us, to assess and evaluate what people are bringing in. And that may not be at all in line with what people's expectations are. So if I would have to guess, I would say that 98 to 99% of negative reviews are really based on a bad experience of people trying to sell to us, where we tell them there's nothing wrong with the items, but they just don't fit in our current inventory situation or our needs. And that makes sense to us, but that may not make sense to our customers. So we have to work very hard to make sure that customers work out with at least an understanding of what just happened. That may or may not stop them from giving us a bad review, but we need to make sure that, again, we are consistent, that we have a lot of good information for the customers of why we make our decisions the way we make them.
There's always two sides to that review. It's generally people that leave bad reviews or people that are angry or upset, and there's a reason behind that. There's also the side that happened in the store, and maybe it's just a not understanding the process, maybe it's a bad communication, and that can be on our side, and it's a learning tool.
Well, negative reviews is a fact of modern life in retailing, and you have to learn to live with that. It's in one sense unfortunate because a lot of reviews are done because somebody just wants revenge. And I think most people look at those reviews now and they say to themselves, I'm going to read the positive reviews, I'm going to read the negative reviews, and I'm going to look and see what makes sense. First of all, fortunately, we get an awful lot of good reviews. And I think you can tell the difference between the genuine person who's writing a good review and is genuinely excited, and the individual who had a bad day that day. So I don't let it worry me much. Fortunately, you can manage that whole process. There is a way to do that. And it's here to stay, and it is what it is, so there's no point in worrying about it. Just try to get as many of the good ones as you can, and you do that by running your business well day in and day out.
What I would tell them about the haters is just smile. They're there, they're always gonna be there. It's behind a computer screen, and it's try to fix it. You know, take positive and negative opinions and utilize it toward fixing your business. Positive ones are great, and you might hear 1 out of 10 people say a positive thing, but every bad review comes from their one tiny bad experience. But we try to learn from the bad experiences and fix them. If somebody is mad they didn't get greeted, we work on greeting next. And we talk to our staff, we show them the reviews, and we say, let's fix this. It's a problem that we all have, and we need to work on it. If it's one bad viewpoint. There could be 50 bad viewpoints that aren't willing to voice their opinion, but they just won't return. So having that positive retention is what we aim for.
I don't think a few angry people on Yelp who had product that we couldn't purchase should be indicative of the overall view of the companies. And I would suggest that if somebody feels concerned about that if they get on and look at individual Facebook pages and their star reviews, that is far more indicative of how people feel. It's also a much larger sample size, and I think that's significant.